Okay, you're now the owner of a 25 caliber Evanix. There we go. So, a few things that I need to go over. There's a few things you need to know in order to operate these guns without screwing anything up. And if you follow the few simple rules, then this will operate for forever. These things are built like tanks. So the main rule is that when you're loading your magazines, let's see here, you have to snap these pellets way inside the magazine. So you usually have to have something like this, like a pen with you or something like that. So if you look in here, you can kind of see that that's actually flush with the in the mag, but that's not good enough. You need to like push that down there. So it's way down there and it actually hits the floor. The front of the pellet's going to hit the bottom of the magazine there. And you turn to the next one. Get that thing in there. And you have to snap it in there so it's way down in there all the way. If you don't get those in there, then the gun could jam. So you slide this in here. So in order to fire the gun, forward, there's two buttons on the gun. We got forward and forward. This one's actually labeled, but forward and forward is safe. So in order to fire the gun, you want to go back, which is on, and then back on this would be fire. And be careful with this thing because it is deadly. It's like, it would be like getting hit with a .22 long rifle if you accidentally shot yourself in the face. So in order to fill the gun, there's actually a little meter under here, and you'll see that it looks kind of like this. Okay, and it has notches on it, and there's a red notch is the last one. This one's red, and so you would think that you would fill it up to here, but you don't. What it is this, the notch before the red, this is 200 right here, and you want to fill it to 200 bar. If you go to here, this is 250. So you don't want to go past this line. If you look in there, it's kind of hard to see, but just fill it to this line right here. Only 200. If you fill it too much, it's going to shoot the pellet too hard. It could damage the gun. The other thing is you want to keep dust out of your gun. So I put a cap on my air thing there. You want to keep dust out of this, so keep this in a baggie or something. When you're doing your pellets, you know, put those, sometimes I just pour them out on a piece of paper or right here, and then you got a pretty dust-free environment there. Let's see what else. So also when you're filling the gun, let's see, when you're filling the gun, you want to fill it slowly. If you fill the air too fast, it could make it hot. So you want to just go, psh, just creep it up there. Just don't slam it open. Should be fine. Let's see here. Okay, so the number one thing is loading your magazines correctly. The number two thing is that you don't want to shoot this when the battery is low. So if you're going to go out there and be doing some full auto especially, you're going to want to make sure your battery's charged. This is the charger. And the battery's located in here. You just take this off with, I believe it's 3mm Allen screws. And the thing about charging these batteries is this does turn off by itself. Well, what it does is it turns from red to green. There's a little light right here. When it's charged, maybe it takes like 40 minutes or so. But you don't want to leave them on the charger too long. Like, you don't want to leave them overnight. So what you want to do is when you're going to charge it, try to be around for an hour or so, and then be able to, shortly after it turns green, just go ahead and unplug it, because they do get hot when they're charging. And I always unplug them, but I don't know what happens if you leave them plugged in for too long. Okay, so that is number two rule, is make sure your battery's charged, especially if you're doing full auto, because if you do it on a weak battery, that can jam the gun. Okay, the number three is there's a little window right here, and every once in a while you want to take this off, turn the gun sideways like this, and then take a couple drops of hops oil, like gun oil, and it has to make sure it's not petroleum based. gun oil. You want regular gun oil. Usually I just use hops. Do like a couple drops right there, a couple drops back there, and you can actually see it splashing around in here after you put it on. That's cool. So you got to keep it oiled too. That's number 3 rule. The number 4 rule is that you don't want to shoot this down below 50 bar. You're filling it to 200, so if you go below 100, that's when you might want to start think about refilling. And if you shoot it down to 50, below 50, that can actually jam it as well. So another thing is when you're going like this and you're shooting full auto, in order to get the magazine out, you're going to need, let's see here, in order to get the magazine out, this has to be in the back position right here. Very good focus there. And so when you're done shooting full auto, sometimes it'll be up here. So all you do is you do it to semi-auto right there, and then let's focus this, and then pull the trigger once, and it should lock back. Pull the trigger and hold it down like for 1 second. It should lock back. If it doesn't, just pull it again, and it'll lock back into the rearmost position, and you'll be able to get your magazine out. If it does jam, there's a couple ways you can fix it. Well, mainly, you take this screw out right here. Whoops. I'm having a hard time focusing today. And let me see, I believe that one and that one. And then this thing will just, you just pop this apart, maybe 1 millimeter. And what it'll do is there's a wheel down here, and it'll take the pressure off the hammer. And right when you just barely pop it apart, it's going to go chink, and it'll spring back to where it's supposed to be. You just squeeze it back together. You never want to open it all the way, because then stuff comes out, it's hard to get back in. But if there, for some reason, let's say you do screw something up on this gun. Let's say you accidentally turn your scuba tank the wrong way, and you blow the air thing out, or you you get it jammed somehow, and you can't get it unjammed. All you got to do is call these guys right here, Air Venturi. Well, this is actually Pyramid Air, pyramidair.com, and they are a giant air gun seller, and they actually, at their store in Ohio, wherever it is, they have Air Venturi, and Air Venturi is the repair place, and so they'll repair your gun for like really cheap. One time I actually blew a different model up, and they repaired it for like 60 bucks. I've never had a repair from those guys be more than like $100 with shipping coming back to me. So they can repair this anytime, but if you follow those simple rules, then this should work flawlessly for a long time. The other thing is, it is okay to dry fire these. That's why when you're trying to clear your mag out and you need to pull the trigger a couple times, that's not a problem. And I think that's about everything. So enjoy the gun, and thanks for bidding.